Hello, YouTube. Welcome back for another episode of Ask Branden. So it looks like there may be one or two viewers so far, and that's to be expected because we are streaming pretty early in the morning. But anyway, hopefully later on, if you weren't able to watch the video right now, you can watch the video which will be saved at a later time. So, good. We're glad to have everybody back. And I just want to turn your attention to some of our warm-up questions. Going back to the PPT. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about health. Are we in shape? Are we in good shape? And yeah, so I'm going to ask these questions, give you some time to think about it, and then I will provide some model answers. So if you don't know what to say, that's okay. You can listen to what I say, and hopefully that'll help you out in the future. So the first question is, are you in good shape? Are you out of shape? Second question, do you do any physical activities on a regular basis? Third question, do you think people put too much emphasis on being thin? Fourth question, what do you think is the most serious health problem in your country? What are the main causes? Okay. So let's just think about those questions, and in case anybody is viewing, I'm going to copy and paste them in the chat box. All the questions will be posted here. Oh, good morning. Looks like we have a few visitors. Hyung-suk and Hyunju, very nice to see you today. Can you hear me okay? Hi. Hey, good to see everyone. So I copy and pasted the first question there. Are you in good shape? What would you say? Well, it is subjective. I'm pretty sure that some people have different ideas about what it means to be in good shape. So, what do you think? Hyung-suk? Perfect. You can hear me perfectly. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you. Thanks for that. Well, I'm going to give a model answer. I would say that I am not in good shape. So you look at me and it doesn't look like I'm overweight or I have any serious problems, and that is true. But if you ask me to run a marathon, could I do it? I'm not so sure. I think in order to be healthy, you should exercise at least 3 times a week, 4 times a week. I'm lucky if I even exercise twice a week. You know, I really try to do it, but it is not easy. What about you? Okay, we appreciate your honesty here. Yeah. Right, so we have a comment here. I'm in good shape when people see me, but physically I have too much fat. Okay, so yeah, what we have here is, I've noticed this, that there's a lot of people who are skinny. Like when you see them, they're skinny, but they actually are out of shape. They don't have any muscle tone. So a lot of what they do have is just, not muscle. So that's true. You can be slim, but also be out of shape. Perfectly true. Yeah, we have another comment here. Getting fat, I think that's natural as we get older. I've gained weight. since I've entered my 30s. I think it's normal, but that doesn't mean it has to be inevitable. If we work hard, we can change it and slow down the process of age. So keep that in mind. Oh, we have an interesting comment here. Yoon says that she thinks all bodies are good. Okay. That's a subjective statement. Yoon, if you want to elaborate, we would be interested to hear why you say that. Thanks for your comment. Good. The next question. Do you do any physical activities on a regular basis? Personally, I like hiking. I used to go to the gym, but then I stopped. It was, honestly, it was kind of boring. And not just because working out is boring, but it was nice when I had friends. I went to the gym when I used to live in Suwon, and I had friends. Before work, we would go there in the morning and we would all work out together. It was very nice to have that social support. But since I moved to Seoul, there's no one to work out with. I have no friends, and it's just very bland. I don't want to go. So yeah, I like hiking because at least I get to be out in nature and I get to do something. But yeah, just going to the gym, not my style, at least right now. Okay, we have Jugi saying computer typing. Yeah. I suppose you could consider that exercise in a very comical way. Thanks for your comment. Yeah. Taking a long walk, yeah. So that's a good way to exercise. Taking long walks. I used to jog, but I noticed that if I jog 2 or 3 times a week, I start to get pain in my knees, so I had to stop. Yeah. Okay, and we have a comment from So-min Ji. There are lots of great mountains to go to. I recommend you go hiking this fall, and I will take your advice and go hiking whenever I can. Yeah, even around Seoul, there are so many good mountains. Soraksan, Dobongsan, like there are all sorts of mountains. We don't have to go all the way to far away to go hiking. Great advice. That's great. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Do you think people put too much emphasis on being thin? Yeah. What do you think about that? I don't know. I think so, but you guys can disagree with me. And the reason why I say that is if you ever open up a fashion magazine, people on that magazine, in the magazine, on the pages, won't be obese. They will be slim, very slim people who are models for fashion. So I think as a society we do put a lot of emphasis on being thin, but is it too much? Well, that's up for you to say. I don't know. I mean, obviously, if a fashion model, in order to be slim enough to be a fashion model, if you have to starve yourself and not be healthy, I think that's very unrealistic. But I don't know anything about the fashion industry, so yeah, I have no idea. Genju says, in particular among women, and yeah, so I probably don't really understand what women have to go through in this respect. I think with men, it's a little more acceptable for men to be a little bigger, so yeah, we don't have the same standard, obviously. Good. All right. So let's move on back to the PPT over here. All right, so continuing on our theme of health and being in shape, we're going to consider a letter from an anonymous sender. And this person, let's see, just glancing through it. Yeah, so they're talking about their health condition. So let's see what he or she has to say. So it starts with, Dear Professor Noland, that's me. For most of my life, I've had a slim body type. In spite of my appetite for pizza and excessive alcohol consumption, I seem to be in great shape. Wow, good for you. Lucky. Meanwhile, I have a friend who's a real health nut. He spends several hours a week at the gym. But that just seems so boring. I'm somewhat of a couch potato. I would rather read a book, watch Netflix, or play computer games than toil away at a gym like a hamster running on a wheel. Wow, I love the imagery there. I love that. We'll talk about that more later. But now, everything is starting to change. I'm 34 years old, and my metabolism is starting to slow down. My belly has gotten rounder and sticks out of my body. Oh my goodness. I can't fit into my skinny jeans anymore. I think I need to do something before the situation gets out of hand. I don't want to go on a strict diet. That doesn't seem like a good long-term solution. I've seen people starve themselves to lose weight, and it never seems to work in the long run. I think the key to a long-term weight loss is a more active lifestyle. I agree with that. More active lifestyle is good. That is why I want to get a dog. Ooh, a big dog. Not one of those small wimpy dogs. I know this idea may sound crazy, but hear me out. Dogs need regular exercise, right? Therefore, having a dog would force me to keep a more active lifestyle. Plus, I get to have a cute furry companion. It's a win-win. When I mentioned this to my friends, however, they disagreed with my idea. They said I can achieve my health goals without a dog. Professor Noland, I was wondering if you or any of your viewers have any advice for me. Is getting a dog a good idea, or is there a better way? I hope to hear from you soon. Anonymous. Well, I don't know about... it sounds like this guy just wants to get a dog. Anyway, I have an opinion. I'm going to respond to this letter, but before I do, I want to hear what you think. So, take a few minutes, read the article again. I'm going to send you the link to the article, and think about how you would respond to this letter. And let's share our comments in the comment section on YouTube. Okay. So I'm going to send you that right now. Okay, let's see. In case any of you are interested in reading this at home, I sent you a link for the Word file. You can read it there. Juki, thanks for your comment. You're saying, as long as dogs love you, that would be a good idea. Okay. So as long as, yeah, the dog will love you if you take care of it. So I think as long as you take care of the dog, it's a good idea. Let's think more about it. Yoon says, let me switch the camera view. Yoon says she can't have a dog just for that reason. Okay, Yoon, that's a good point. So I would be interested to know what are the reasons to get a dog? That's a really good train of thought. Why do people get dogs? Is there ever a good reason to get dogs? I've always thought that getting a pet is somewhat selfish. No matter what pet you get, you're taking the pet, the animal, outside of its natural environment, whether it's a bird or a cat. Well, I don't know. Dogs or cats have been domesticated for a very long time. But you're taking the animal out of a natural environment where it's free, and you are making it conform to your lifestyle. So, I don't know. It seems like in a very fundamental way, having a pet is an act of selfishness. It's just my thought. But we do it, so there should be some reasons for it. Obviously, it's a lot of responsibilities, right? I apologize if you guys hear me clearing my throat. The air is so bad in Seoul right now. I do not have coronavirus. Okay, so we have a comment from So. I think a dog would be really helpful to help him work out. But as we all know, a dog is an animal. I hope he has more reasons to get a dog. Yeah, and that is a very good point. There should be various reasons for getting a pet. It's a long-term responsibility. So, what do you think would be a good reason to get a dog? Would you ever consider getting a pet? Personally, I like animals. So whether they're dogs or cats, I like coming home after work and having someone happy to see me when I get home. So yeah, I'm not sure with my lifestyle and all my responsibilities if I have enough time to have a pet, but they sure are cool. I don't know, it's just my opinion. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let you guys think about it. Oh, this is a good point. So we have someone saying pet needs responsibility. I think he or she will throw the dog away after he is finished with his diet. Yeah, so hopefully he doesn't do that. Yeah. This is all great. I want to go over, before we talk about this more, I want to go over some of the expressions we learned in this letter. So let's move back to the PPT. Here we are. So some words we saw in the letter: in spite of, despite. So these two words are prepositional expressions, and they have similar meanings. Although or even though, they express a contrast between two things. They are more common in writing than speaking, and despite is a little more formal. So let's look at some examples. He got the job in spite of his prison record. So we know that normally if you have a prison record, it's going to be a lot harder to find a job. So this sentence is saying, even though he had a prison record, he got the job. So John's company was doing extremely well despite the recession. The economy is bad, but his company still doing well. He was very fast in spite of being terribly overweight. So usually if you're overweight, you can't move as well as a slim person, but in spite of that, he was very fast. And going back to the letter, in spite of my appetite for pizza and excessive means too much, excessive alcohol consumption, I seem to be in great shape. So he drinks a lot of alcohol, he eats a lot of pizza, but in spite of that, he seemed to be in great shape. Oh, what a perfect life. I envy him. Okay, moving on. Health nut, health freak, these both mean the same thing. This is just someone who is really serious about their health. someone who exercises a lot or always eats healthy food. So if you are, it can also be a verb too. If you are nuts about something, you are very enthusiastic about that person or thing. Let's consider an example. He's nuts about his new computer game. That means he likes it a lot. He's very enthusiastic about it. Good, good. There's also another meaning, to be nuts. It could mean silly, stupid, or strange. So, as an example, you must be nuts to be going on a trip to the USA in 2020. There are thousands of new coronavirus cases there every day. So I don't know if you agree with that, but many people are afraid of going to the US, especially because, I don't know, my home country is not doing a good job at containing the coronavirus pandemic for various reasons. Couch potato. A couch potato, we remember the reader describes himself as a couch potato. This is a person who spends little or no time exercising, and they just spend all day on the couch watching TV. So he says, I'm somewhat of a couch potato. I would rather, well, if you sit on the couch all day, you would rather be doing stuff like Netflix and stuff that doesn't require exercise. Okay, moving on, I really liked his use of simile. And simile, I'm sure everybody knows this. You've been acquainted with the idea. It's a figure of speech involving a comparison of one thing with another kind. So, for example, as brave as a lion, as crazy as a fox. So we remember that the writer who sent the letter said, I would prefer not to toil away at the gym like a hamster running on a wheel. So, I think this is great imagery here. Think about a hamster. Look at this picture. A hamster on the wheel. It keeps running and running and running, but it's not getting anywhere. It's just toiling away. It's working hard. Something he doesn't want to do. But there's no results. I think the imagery is perfect. So if you can use this in your own writing, it will just liven it up a lot. When something gets out of hand, it cannot be controlled any longer. In 2019, officials said that the COVID-19 virus had to be contained before things got out of hand. And you know, they weren't contained. Things did get out of hand, I think we would all agree. Well, not in Korea. You guys contained it pretty well. But in other countries, things really got out of hand. So the writer says, I think I need to do something before this situation gets out of hand. Well, what does he mean? Well, he knows he's starting to gain weight. He knows he's starting to get a beer belly. He needs to do something before it gets out of hand. Before things get worse. Long run. So when we say in the long run, we're talking about something that has an effect for a long period of time. So the writer says, I've seen people starve themselves to lose weight, and it never seems to work in the long run. So when you start losing weight by starving yourself, at first it's okay. You'll lose those kilograms, but you gain it back really fast. And a lot of times people will gain back what they lost, and they will even gain more weight after that. So in the long run, starving yourself by restricting your calories might not be a good idea. Wimpy. So when somebody is a wimp, they're not very strong, brave, or confident. They're weak. They're a weak guy. So he said that he doesn't want to get a wimpy dog. He doesn't want to get the dog like, I don't know, can you tell the difference? On the left, you see a Maltese. I think that's a Maltese. I think you could describe it as a small, wimpy dog. And on the right, you have a boxer, which is a strong dog. So this is not a wimpy dog. This is a big dog. So we know what kind of dog he wants to get. Yeah, the downside is the bigger dog, it may be cooler, but you sure have to feed it, and it's a lot more work. Hear me out. To listen to someone until they have finished speaking. So we have an example conversation. One person says, oh, I'm so disappointed that Donald Trump lost the election. And the other guy is like, Oh my God, how can you say that? He was the worst. Wait, hear me out. I have reasons for believing the way I do. I have an explanation. Just give me a chance to speak. Last one, a win-win. It's a situation where everyone benefits. So the writer says, having a dog would force me to keep a more active lifestyle. It's a win-win for me and the dog. Okay, so hopefully all of that makes this letter a little more easy to understand. I just wrote a small response here. To whom it may concern, this is my response. I agree with you that a more active lifestyle would benefit you immensely. Just be sure to stick with it. Weight loss is the main reason women exercise, and muscle tone is the main reason for men. Such cosmetic effects may take a long time to appear, discouraging people from continuing. Oh, I spelled that wrong. From, F-R-O-M, okay? From continuing, even though their health is improving. Now about the dog. You didn't mention why your friends disagreed with your idea of getting a dog. Think about the reasons why they discouraged you from pet ownership. They know you better than I do. Taking care of an animal is a big responsibility and a long-term commitment, so I encourage you to think deeply about this. Sincerely, Branden Noland. All right, so now let's take it back to you. Do you agree with Branden? Do you agree with my answer? I want to know your idea. So let's move back. Here we are. Oh, so I just did a lot of talking, and I'm seeing some comments here. This is great. Yeah, he was very fast in spite of his prison record. Okay, I appreciate your effort at combining the sentences. In spite of or despite is very common in written English. So if you can learn that expression, it'll make you sound smart. Yeah, I like that. A wimpy pumpy, yeah. Hear me out. So, yeah, I like how you guys are practicing with some of the expressions we were talking about. We say hear me out when perhaps we're about to say something a little controversial. Like if you're with a group of people and you say, for example, I'm not a feminist, right? If you just say that, people are going to react very strongly, like, wait, like, what does that mean? Do you feel like women should be oppressed or something like that? And this is just an example. So when you say something that's controversial, first of all, you better have good reasons for it, and you need to be able to explain why you feel that way. So you can say, hear me out. Let me explain. Let me talk. It's very useful in spoken English. Hear me out. Oh, Hyunju says, I'm wondering if you have access to YouTube chat via your phone too, due to a little echoing. Thank you. Huh. Hyunju, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I didn't know that I was echoing. Maybe if I lower the mic a little bit down here, it'll be better. Okay. How's that? Is it still echoing? Please let me know if it's a little better. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to think about it. Really, I think my response was that we don't have enough information to go on. His friends said, hey, maybe it's not a good idea for you to get a dog. There can be reasons. Maybe his friends know that he's irresponsible. You know, we don't know. Okay. All right, so while you're thinking about that, I can just post some discussion questions here. Let's consider some discussion questions. Have you ever gone on a diet? What did you eat? What did you avoid? Okay, so we're some echoing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the sound. I'm going to try to change the sound options here. So let's see what we got in the properties. Huh. Okay, so I'm increasing the sound suppression level. I don't know if that's going to help. Personally, I've never been on a diet. I'm sort of afraid to go on one because I don't think I have the self-control to keep it. But let's see what you guys think. And sort of on the one more question here, you know, I have to get that COVID-19 question in. Has COVID-19 made it harder for you to stay healthy? How do you think your health condition has changed since 2019? Or has it made any difference at all? What do you think? Okay, you're like me, you've never gone on a diet. Fair enough. Genju, you're welcome. Hopefully we can fix the sound problem later. I don't really know what's going on. I'll look into it. Mm. Yeah. Okay, so N says, I try to live as a vegan for staying in shape. I can lose some weight, but it destroyed my happiness. Wait, so you're saying that living as a vegan, you lost some weight, but you weren't happy living that way. Is that correct? Yeah, absolutely. If you're not happy, you might need to make a change. Yenju, you say you hesitate to go to the gym. Is that because you're afraid of virus particles there? Um, sure, gyms can be a pretty unsafe place if the virus is being spread there. Perfect. I've been a little more unhealthy since 2019. Just, I don't know. For me, I'm not that afraid of going outside, but wearing the mask is very inconvenient. When I wear the mask, I feel like my face is getting all oily, and it makes me not even want to go outside. So I spend a lot of time at home, and when you're home, you're not moving. So, yeah. Good. Good, good, good. All right. Well, let's move on. We actually have another letter, and it's so nice that people send these to me because it gives us a lot to talk about. So, let's good. so let's see. Oh no, this is a sad one. So this person is dealing with the loss of a loved one. So I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience when somebody that you love passes away, your wife, your husband, your mother. Very sad. Dear Professor Noland, I hope this letter doesn't come across as overly sentimental. My mother passed away recently, and I haven't been handling it very well. So, passed away, that means that his mother died. This is a euphemism, passed away, a polite way of saying something. I've been thinking about life, how short it truly is. It seems like just yesterday I was a kid in elementary school who just lost his first baby tooth to a tetherball. Well, then I think about my mother, how difficult her final years were. She went senile toward the end of her life while she lived in the nursing home. Whenever I'd visit her, it would disturb me greatly to see her so out of touch with reality. I've heard some people say they wouldn't want to live forever, but I'm not sure I agree. I don't want to grow old and die. For me, it's not enough to age gracefully and live to a ripe old age of 100. I want my final decades to mean something, you know? I don't want to fade away into obscurity. I want my last years to be defined. I don't want my last years to be defined by loneliness. Okay, I don't know, maybe I'm going through a midlife crisis. I can see the end just around the corner. I miss the enthusiasm for life I used to have when I was young. Now it seems like one day blends into another and life doesn't have much meaning. Professor Noland, do you have any advice for how I can make my remaining years meaningful and joyful? Thank you. Anonymous. Wow, so this is sort of I think this person is going through a hard time. Let's see, let's move back over here. Woo. So first of all, I would like to ask you, have any of the viewers ever lost somebody they love? Personally, I haven't, so I can't even begin to comprehend what this person must be feeling right now. So, what about you? Can you understand? Yoon says, my grandfather passed away last year. I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry for your loss. Yeah. Okay, so then we have another viewer. My grandparents passed away a few years ago. Yeah. Wow, so this is just one of the things where I think there's no way we can prepare ourselves for this sort of experience. Yeah. Good. I think we can understand what's happening to this person. Let's look at the letter more closely. Okay. So, just to zero in on some of these vocabulary words, come across means to seem a certain way. She comes across as very sensitive. She seems very sensitive. The writer says, I hope this letter doesn't come across as overly sentimental. Okay, so sentimental means appealing to emotion. So, too emotional. I hope this letter doesn't seem too emotional. And I think it is sentimental, to be honest, but I can totally understand where this person is coming from. Handle something to deal with a certain situation. he handled the press conference very well. So he dealt with the situation in a very fine manner. The writer says, "My mother passed away recently, and I haven't been handling it very well." So his mother or her mother passed away, and he is in very bad shape. Out of touch, lacking knowledge or information about current events and developments. So the writer says that before his mother passed away, she was senile. She wasn't in full possession of her intellectual faculties. She was out of touch with reality. She didn't know what was going on without her. So, out of touch. Last one, blends. So have you guys ever used a blender? When you blend ingredients together, you make one shake. So you're merging something together with something else. He's saying, now it seems like one day blends into another and life doesn't have much meaning. So, I don't know, this seems like some depression symptoms to me. Perhaps somebody else has felt like this before. So here's my response. Dear Anonymous, judging from the contents of your letter, it seems like you are experiencing some depression symptoms, which is understandable considering your circumstances. I'm not a psychologist, and I have never lost a loved one before, so I can't imagine the pain you must be dealing with right now. Nevertheless, I do have some advice which may prove useful. There's no way to live forever, but there are ways you can extend your life and make your time on Earth more meaningful. It mostly comes down to social supports, the people you know. Find ways to cultivate meaningful and positive friendships. I remember one Harvard study which seems to suggest that a positive attitude and the support of friends contributes more to the quality of life than other factors. Of course, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, eating properly, and getting enough exercise can't hurt. I'm sorry for your loss, Branden Noland. Okay, so these were just my words of encouragement, what I had to say. What would you say to this person? No. And let's move the camera. So, what would you say? And don't say cheer up. Like, so many people say, like, when somebody's not in a good mood, I think it may just be the language barrier, but when somebody's not feeling well, I've heard so many people say, cheer up, cheer up. It sounds very insincere. So if you encountered a person like this, what would you say? Do you have any words of encouragement? Hyunju says, I can't imagine how I would react. So you haven't had this experience before, just like me. Fair enough. You guys may notice that when I'm dealing with somebody who's distressed, I say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I think it's a cultural difference. Americans say sorry a lot more often than Korean people do. I've said sorry, like, oh, I'm sorry, when somebody's having a bad time, and they'll tell me, why are you sorry? It's not your fault. Why are you saying sorry? And I think, especially Americans, we say sorry for no reason. It's just a way we express sympathy. I think I may say it too much. That's why. Sorry. But it's very common to say, I'm so sorry for your loss. That's perfectly okay to say. Mm-hmm. Good, good. All right. So we have a message from Yoon. I think he or she would be better. It'd be better for her to spend time alone for a while to accept the situation. Okay, so because we need time to slowly accept everything and get used to the new normal. I think that's what you mean. Yeah. Okay, Hyunju says, how about regular exercise and spending time with your family and friends more often? And I agree with you. Part of my advice to the writer was that you need to have these social supports. There are people who don't have a lot of family and don't have a lot of friends. And those people are very vulnerable when something like this happens. So absolutely, that's great advice. But it's up to us to put ourselves out there and develop these friendships so we have support to fall back on when we go through a hard time. Perfect. Okay, so somebody says, I think time is the solution. After a few months, you can get your passion for life again. And that is true. Time does heal wounds. However, some people do need some extra help. So if you're experiencing depression, by all means, go to a professional. And there are all sorts of therapies that you can do. There's medication, there's talk therapy that can help you through a hard time. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't want to generalize, but I've noticed that in Korea, there is sort of a stigmatism on mental health. If somebody knows that you've gone to a psychiatrist, they may, I'm not really sure, but I have a feeling it may reflect badly on you in some way, so people keep that a secret. And it really doesn't need to be something that we should be ashamed about. Some people need help to get through a tough time. Good. Okay, you can think more about that. I'm going to share with you some discussion questions. There's a theme here of getting old. We're afraid of aging. This person realizes that he's in his maybe 50s, and pretty soon he's going to be 60, 70, 80. Life is short. Some people are afraid of getting old. What about you? Are you afraid of getting old? Why or why not? So, if you're very young, perhaps you haven't even thought about it. I know that when I was in my 20s, I never thought about getting old. I thought I was invincible. I would live forever. But obviously that's not the case. I'm 32 now, and I am distinctly aware of how fast time is going by. It's going by so fast. Okay, another question for your consideration. How old do you want to live to be? Do you want to live to be to the ripe old age of 100? Why or why not? You know, in the past I thought if somebody is 80 years old, that's it. Life's over. What can you do? Because I think of my grandmother right now. My grandmother's 99 years old, and she's still alive. She has dementia. She can't really function. She has to be taken care of by her family. So some people, because of that, may think, 100, it seems like not a good thing. But think about the new president, President Biden. He is 90, I think he may be 76 or maybe even 78. Maybe he's even 78 years old. I don't even know. I think he's 78. It's like, that's really old. So it got me thinking, maybe I'm not as old as I think. Kenju says, yes, because I look uglier as I get older. And that is, well, as we get older, we develop wrinkles, become less attractive. We can't avoid it. We just have to accept it. Gives us character. So, good points. Very good points. All right, so we're getting a lot of interesting comments. Getting old is good for me. When I was young, I was so stupid, but not now. And yes, that's putting it bluntly, but I totally agree. In my 20s, I was not very smart. I don't think anybody's really smart. Nobody really knows what they're doing in their 20s. For the first time in my life, I feel like I actually know who I am, and that's nice. Now I just wish I could take all my knowledge and all my skill and go back in time and start over, but we can't do that, can we? Okay, we have a comment here. I'm afraid of becoming older without any accomplishments. So I understand that as well. I've seen people who are 50 years old, you know, they haven't really done much. It just seems like they have no passion for life. They've just spent their whole life going through the motions, and I don't want to judge other people, but I just feel like if you're not happy with your accomplishments, with your life, with what you've done in your life, then that's a problem. But of course, happiness is subjective, so it's up to everybody has their own standard, right? Okay, so Hyunsuk says, I'm not afraid, it's just natural. That is true. Kenju says, older and wiser. Yes, we do obtain wisdom as we get older. Very nice. Last question, posted here. Is there anything you want to accomplish before you get too old? Is there anything you want to accomplish? Well, there are various things that people do. It really depends on your life goals. Raising children, increasing your status in society through work or volunteering, achieving some higher position. Yeah. There are a lot of goals we may have. Okay, Yongju says, I hope to be a fluent English speaker. Yes. Language goals, I would assume that all of us here have some language goals. I think everybody listening, you know, you're learning English, and it's great that you're getting involved with the language like we're doing now. Even me, if I live in Korea for a long time, I really should learn Korean. You know, there's reasons for learning language. Yeah, right. A lot of you are saying to speak, write, and listen to English fluently. Perfect. Aha, taking an adventurous hiking trail. Holding a PhD. Yes, if you achieve a higher status in your field, that can give you a sense of satisfaction. And really, it's a lot of work, but it's the journey. If we enjoy the journey, it makes it worth it. great. Having a happy family. Guys, this is all really good ideas. Even though it's so early in the morning, I really appreciate you all joining me today. We're going to end the stream because we have to give the next person time to talk. So I have to say goodbye for now. But until next time, I hope you have a great time studying and a happy life. So talk to you later. Bye. See you later.